was the book that gave me a little bit of an aha moment. Because for the longest time, I have been, because I'm a mom, my daughter is like 8 years old this year. So since she was born, you can imagine for how long that is, right? I have always have struggled time to time, balancing out this work and life, right? It gets better, of course, but it's different stage have different things. So the struggle about this thing until one day I read about this concept about building a compass and living a life by design. Um, and that's changed my whole view. The whole idea is like, for example, I give you some examples on the next slide. For example, it talks about the work view of your life, okay, as well as your life view. What is your work view? What is your life view? Link to the next slide. So these are some examples. All this will be in your worksheet, so don't worry. Later on, we will give it at the end, so you can continue to work on this. So then I asked myself this question: why I want to work? Okay, why do I want to work? What is value? Obviously, a lot of us we want to work because we want to achieve the financial freedom that we want to. But really, why work? And why work at the work that you are doing? There are a lot of things that can achieve that. Then, so for me, what came out most was two things. Financial freedom is a big thing for me. Secondly, it's also purpose. So I value a lot of purpose and meaning to the work that I do. Okay, and then I ask myself, what is my life view? What do I want to do with my life, work aside, right? And family and everything. And when I integrate both of them, I realize how they complement each other. I also know why they clash. And that was the aha moment, because then I realized, oh, I finally knew why I had such a struggle, because my view of things, of how work and life is very different. Like it contradicts each other. And when I managed to have harmony and integrate them, okay, I felt so much, I felt so liberated. Okay, that's a space that we want to be at. Okay, later if we have a chance, we can actually draw a little bit of this as well. And what is your work view, your life view? Okay, and next. So the next thing is, this is the stage that we all hope to be in. It's not to have, to me, I think it's not about having balance. It's not like 50-50 balance. Balance in this sense is more like harmony. How can I merge my work and life together so that it's not either A or B? It is an integration and they work in harmony together. Okay, so I think I want really to pass the space to Lee, because she has a lot to share. And the first thing that she wants to share about this downward and upward spiral, there's a lot more that her content is. And Lin, over to you.
Yeah, but okay, but this is what Charlene is sharing is actually really important, because it talks about finding your overarching compass. That's what this book calls it, a compass, but I would call it a philosophy. Okay, so if you're very clear that your philosophy in work and in life are congruent and they are aligned, you're going to feel a lot more congruent as an individual. So how many of you feel like, sometimes when you're at work, you have to be a certain person and something else drives you. And then when you go home, you're a different person. And then, something else drives you there. And then so when push comes to shove, right, you kind of feel like you're all over the place. So as we go through the life stages, it's important to take a stock of where you are each time. Your philosophy is likely going to change as you grow and as your life circumstances change. So Charlene, what was it for you? Like did you find that is your word harmony? You had your own word, right?
Yes, so actually, I took a break last year, a little literal break, like not like, to ponder a little bit about this. And my harmony was, okay, so the conflict was, to just make it short, is that I was very driven at work, because I want purpose. I was after personal growth. It was like when I see outcomes, I see things that I can achieve because of the work that I put in and the purpose. To me, that was growth, right? To me, that was growth. But because when life came, life as in like time and all that, because I have other hats to wear, my family and all that, it was all new. And that took time away from me working on my so-called personal growth, my original old definition of personal growth. And I saw that as like, this is like taking away what I value a lot at work. At the same time, when I'm at work, then I'm thinking actually life is also very important. Quality time with my children, with my child, one only child, and something is very important. Then I feel like my work is taking time away from my life. So I was quite unhappy at certain stage. It was that conflict. And when this came about, and the harmony was like, actually, my life supports my work because of the thing that I can do within my work. It actually supports my life. And then there is a harmony because one of the key factor was important to me is doing good. So at work, I was able to do a lot of good and impact. Then in life, I was doing community work and all that. I was able to introduce my daughter. And so that's where the harmony I can find. So that was very liberating for me.
I think one of the things a core philosophy does when you're clear of yours is that it also helps you cut away all the fluff, right? If you don't have that philosophy, it's very difficult for us to streamline our life. And so whatever that, oh, sounds good, feels good, or, this friend asked me to do this, it's very easy to just jump all over the place. And then after that, we feel really stretched and really, really burnt out. So when Sharleen shared this with me, it also brought me back to sometime in December when I was reflecting on my 2023. And I was a little bit, I wasn't in a very great state. And I felt like, oh gosh, there was so much more that I could have done, or I didn't manage to finish what I wanted by the end of the year. And I noticed that I started to give a lot of excuses to myself. And my excuses sounded like this. It's very much like what Sharleen mentioned. So I couldn't, I want to earn more money, but I can't earn more money because I can't do my work. Okay. And I can't do my work because I have kids that I need to look after. I have three young kids. And so because of the kids, I can't do my work. And then because I can't do my work, I cannot earn my money. And because I don't have more money, I cannot free myself up to do the things I want. So everything started to collapse into this huge pile. And then the thing is, I started to spiral. So you can see where this inner conversation goes, right? And so because everything else was an excuse for everything else, you imagine when a person runs this, they don't live anymore from an empowered state because all their power is given away to this internal narrative. So to bring this to the forefront, what coaching does, and it's inevitably something that I will do in the sessions with you, is to first of all, get you to raise your awareness. And we do that a lot through reflection. And I'm sure that's kind of why all of you are here. So we're going to take the next 1 hour, 10 minutes, gosh, it's very fast, to reflect and bring some awareness to what's important to you in your life so that you can leave today's workshop making those little tweaks. So the first thing first is what we call now an upward and downward spiral, because like I just shared in that last story, I was spiraling downwards. And I'm sure all of you know what this feels like. Okay, so do you know when you are spiraling downwards? How does that feel like? Maybe all of you could type in chat, like just a word to describe. How do you know when you are spiraling downwards? So I get very grouchy and I start snapping at my family. It's terrible. Okay, we see stuck. Good. Escapism. Oh, okay. Do you like to drink? I can go and drink with you. Overwhelmed. What else? Very good. Helpless. Oh, feeling sian. Blaming others. Amy, I got you. Negative. Frustrated. Very nice. So naturally, it's the negative emotions that come up. Now, bonus is if you can even identify what are the thoughts that put you or that keep you spiraling downwards. Okay, you'll get a chance to do that in your workbook, but this is a very good start. Now, on the other hand, you have the upward spiral. Now, everybody knows what that feels like. So give me a word in chat. How do you know when you are in an upward spiral? Flow. Okay, nice one, Jen. Momentum, yes. Energized. Yes, we see energy, right? It's a lot of high energy, good energy. Very nice. And it's productive energy. And you know that you are feeling good. So very good that you can now identify these two things. So this is where intentional design comes in. Right? Why do we want to, when we talk about intentional design, it's the only thing, intentionality is the only thing that can break this cycle. Okay, so we've gone through the downward cycle, and when you're in a downward cycle, unfortunately, only you can break it. Okay, so when you're in this state, you are being robbed of your power. Your life force is actually actively feeding the cycle, which is why all of you sound, you would feel tired, you will feel sian, right? You just don't have energy because your energy is keeping up the downward spiral. It sounds very weird, but that's what happens. So who can break out of this? Only you. And the way that you can do it is really, truly only through intention. Now, I'll come to intention in a while. Now, if you're in an upward spiral, what do? Do you just sit back and kind of go into cruise mode? No. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to push it even more and try to like go for gold. If that's not you, that's fine. But I would say protect this state at all costs. So if you're in an upward spiral, if you know that taking care of your mental health is really important. Like if you're busy or if you're a parent at the same time, and you know that you need that 1 hour or that one cafe visit in a week to just get yourself together, do that. That should be your priority. All right. So either way, we are trying to use our awareness and our attention. These are the two things that when you combine, you can direct your spiral. Okay. So let's see. So we all know what awareness is. Awareness is basically your attention on something. So right now, if I were to just ask you, what's in your awareness right now? It could be something in front of you that you see. It could be a way that you feel. It could be you paying attention to what you're hearing. That's where your awareness is. So kind of like your focus, all right? So when you have focus, right, and you add an intention, which is like a desire, that's where you get a focused desire. And this is so powerful. This is the thing that drives human beings. So imagine the moments where you have a craving. Today, you just feel like eating nasi lemak. Okay, I actually know people who don't like nasi lemak. Okay, something, just pick your favorite food, chicken wings. And you know you just have to have chicken wings. That is a focused desire, right? And you know that it doesn't matter when or which part of the day you're going to have chicken wings, but you're going to have freaking chicken wings today. And so you kind of flow with the day, but you know you will get your chicken wings, okay? So that's what it feels like. So the power of intention actually supersedes hope. And even you'll be surprised the word want. Okay, so I intend is very magical because hope actually causes doubts. It raises the doubts. Oh, I hope that I can lose 10 kg. I mean, it's really iffy, right? You all know this. You can hear yourself when you say that. But what about I want something? I want to lose 10 kg. Now, if it's where want can end up trapping a person is when it becomes a desperation, when it's too emotionally charged. So let's take an example where actually a lot of control or some control of your goal is out of your hands. For example, finding a job or getting a promotion. Now, there are other factors at play, but where people fall into upset and depression and feelings of low self-esteem is because I want a job, but it's not I want anymore. It becomes I need. And then that creates a lot of rigidity. And the moment you're in desperate state, you're not creative, you're not resourceful, you're not open, right? So a more empowering word to use is actually I intend. Because your intention, you have a focused desire, but you notice that there's less attachment, which means that you actually leave space for the how to happen. When you set an intention, your RAS kicks in. So your RAS is short form for your reticular activating system. So your RAS is actually, my voice is a bit raspy now because I have some cough. So the RAS doesn't reside in your throat. It resides at above your spinal cord, and it's about 2 inches long and the width of a pencil. And it's where all your senses come in, except your smell, which actually goes to your emotional center of the brain. Okay, so the RAS helps you filter out pieces. Okay, so if I just say, all of you now, I want you to find something green in the room. Find something green in the room. Straight away, your RAS kicks in. Oh, green, let's look for green, right? You shut out everything else that isn't in support of your intention. So that's how it works. So you start to see and you start to hear and you start to pick out things that help you get to what you're actually intending. And a lot of this is actually unconscious. Right, so a very common thing is, oh, I feel like buying a Toyota, and then suddenly you look around, how come everything is a Toyota? No, people didn't, like, Toyota prices didn't suddenly drop. It's because unconsciously your rest is kicking in, it's picking all these things out. It brings to light what you're looking for. So this is actually really powerful because this begins to lay the pavement for you to get to where you want to go. So we're going to take a little breather at this point. And I know all of you are here for actually just a couple of main reasons, right? Sharleen and I looked at all the reasons that you're here and what you want to get out of the workshop. And majority of you said you want clarity. Okay, you want clarity. Some of you said that you want a process. You want to learn a process to get to your goal, which is great because then it's sustainable. Right, so I'd like you to, for a moment, type in chat, what is your intention? And specifically, when you talk about clarity of your goals, or feeling ready for 2024, or feeling like you're raring to go, what can you shape that into an intention? And I put some samples on the slide. So you could type that in chat so that we could just take a quick look, make sure that you're on track. Sharleen, what's an intention you have around your getting clear or understanding your 2024 goals?
So I have a theme for 2024. 2023, my theme was like letting go, give space to myself, and 2024 is to write on that space that I've already created, and it's really growth. Yeah, growth. Yeah, it's like further empowering myself. I particularly like what you mentioned about the difference between want and intention just now, because I think a lot of people I didn't see it that way actually. But now that you mentioned, I felt like it's very clear. Yes, why there used to be sometimes, tension and a little bit about, yes, energy, right? But the energy comes with a little bit of stress, pressure, because maybe it's because of the attachment to the end outcome. And that was what was, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, I can teach a whole lesson on this, but yes, I think majority of the world have got it wrong around just how the subconscious works. And honestly, if you place too much pressure on yourself, your subconscious will actually see your goals as a threat.
Yes. And then sometimes for certain people, like myself, I have certain high expectations, too much sometimes of myself and certain things, right? And that becomes sometimes a little bit not so good, not so healthy, right? Because we then sometimes we may go into self-blaming and then all these things, and it just goes into a downward spiral that you just mentioned. Okay, I think they have written some stuff like Serene say, I intend to bring myself to a better place than before.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to perhaps give some tips to some of our participants?
Yes. Okay, so I think all of you are on the right track. What we're looking for, first of all, is what is your intention to get to the goals that resonate with you? Okay, so we're not setting intention for the goal, but more like, how do you know when your goal is right for you, right? So we have some very good examples in there. Nat says, I intend to manage my time better to achieve my goal. So that's kind of, you can hear that's part of a whole goal planning right now. Like, how do I make sure that it's achievable? I intend to find balance in my life. That's okay. Vic, I intend to find a meaningful and fulfilling job. Yes, okay. So maybe you can pull out a little bit first and look at sort of the bigger picture to 2024. Maybe start there. Like, how do you want 2024 to be for you? Okay. Then the job becomes a byproduct of that. Right. So I'm just kind of cautioning you to maybe not like put too much stress. Okay, look, your desires are like a girl or a guy or a whatever that rocks your boat, like an animal, okay, that's important to you, that you want to change, like you want to get into a relationship with, okay? So let's say a guy, all right? So I'm into guys. So I want this guy, and then I start chasing the guy. I tell you, is the guy going to run towards me or is going to run away from me? The guy is going to run away from me, okay? Nobody likes needy people. Now, the same thing with your goals, all right? Your goals, they don't like needy energy. So it's like whether you are looking for a relationship or you want to find a business idea, okay, you want to get a promotion, you want to get a raise, you want to get a job. Like take all these as that girl or the guy that you're after and then stop chasing it. Stop chasing it. Lean back, work on yourself. And actually, we're going to talk about this really next, actually, so I can actually move forward. But I want to say, lean back, focus on yourself, play the attraction game. When you raise your level, you grow to a point you can attract that. That is where you're really going to get what you want. Okay, let's go into the goal setting mistakes, because we're going to actually dive a little bit more. Okay, so far what we've covered, what Sharleen has covered, was actually the bigger pieces prior to setting the goal setting stage, right? So getting a bit more clear about your life philosophy, then you can move on. So most people jump into setting goals, but they miss out the big picture. Now we're ready to go in. And like I said, we're not doing the ordinary goal setting. In this segment, we're going to share with you the 3 common mistakes that we see our clients make and we want you to avoid so that you can start off on the right foot. So the first one is beware of good idea goals. So a good idea goal is a goal which you have in mind or that's on your list, which is a good idea. It's a good idea to have. So for example, oh, I should lose weight this year because I'm getting fat. I should start public speaking because leaders are expected to speak well, right? Oh, I should earn more money because I'm already 40 years old and all my peers are earning a lot more. So what's the thing in common? You would hear that good idea goals are usually characterized by shoulds. You should do something, you should have something, you should be something, all right? And shoulds are formed by societal pressure. So either you are getting this idea from something or somebody around you, your boss, your parents. Like I actually had a client who told me, my boss said I should be this kind of leader. And it's like, wow, that's a very controlling boss, right? But you have like your parents, your spouses will tell you who you should be, what you should have. Sometimes we put the pressure on ourselves. When we see what other people are accomplishing and we go like, oh, I should have that too. That's you pressuring yourself. So the invitation here is to ditch the good idea goals, right? Because while they might be fun and it's achievable in the short term, but you want a goal, like if you really want to see yourself grow and have that sense of achievement, you want a goal that would last long. And good idea goals do not last long when push comes to shove. So get really clear about what matters to you and then set a non-negotiable boundary and choose goals from, what I want versus what I should. Okay, now moving along. Second mistake is, when you think about goals, how is it possible? I want to increase my, earning to $15,000 a month, but now I'm only at 10,000. How is it possible? I look around and most people haven't reached there. So when you ask yourself how it traps you, okay, so instead of asking how, you ask yourself, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this goal? Tap in with yourself. After all, it's your life and your goal. Does this goal bring energy to your body or does it take energy away? If you find that you're thinking of a goal, but you feel, oh my God, that feels like such hard work, or actually, I feel so sian, not very exciting, then it's a clue that it's not a goal that you're going to win at, okay? Now, the traditional way of goal setting is to use the SMART concept, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. But all these are just ways to describe how to get to your goal, or what that goal, how you're going to measure that goal. But life in itself is inspirational in nature. Right? If you look at the only way, human beings work 2 ways, okay? By pain or by pleasure. And I'm sure that you don't want to just be driven by pain. You want to be driven by pleasure too. So check in that the goals make you feel excited. It feels meaningful. It feels rewarding. It feels right. So we're putting some emphasis on how do I feel about this? Okay, the next one is the mistake is to be very goal focused or actually outcome focused. Our lives are shouldn't be determined by goals or outcomes. It's probably all that programming from school days where the purpose of school was just to get good grades. Now, grades are an outcome, but unfortunately in life, outcomes are not guaranteed. So the outcome is not guaranteed, the way there is not guaranteed, things will change. If you are overly focused on the outcome, you will see everything between you and your goal as an obstacle. And you just imagine that right now. If everything you see ahead of you is an obstacle, how would you feel? It's also easy to then go into disappointment, into frustration. You begin to operate out of survival. That's what we've been talking about, instead of inspiration. Okay. And then the thing is, when your goal is too tagged to a timeline, by September, I must have doubled my sales revenue, or I must have lost 10 kg. Okay, the thing is, you can't control time, right? So it's not that it's wrong, it's good to have a sense, but then just notice if you set too much, if you tie too much identity into your outcome, right? That's where human beings begin to trip, and then they begin to have low self-esteem. They feel like a failure. I feel like I'm disappointing everybody again. No, you're not. Okay, it's only because you are focused on the wrong thing. So when you go into growth focus, you're focusing now on how you can improve yourself, how you need to upgrade yourself, upskill yourself. And then the outcome is a byproduct of it. So I'll do a very quick example before we move on to the next step. So let's say I want to earn $15,000 a month. Okay, that's my goal. Now, that's what I want. Now, if I'm goal focused, I'm going to start to think about how am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? And when I look all around me, I just see what I'm seeing is a reality of $10,000, because that's where I am. That's my ceiling. Right? So if we just base our current reality to try to say, now, how do I get from here to there? It's very difficult. Versus if I were to shift to growth focused and I begin to go, okay, I'm at 10K now. All right. I've made it to 10K so far, looking all around me. Very good. Now, what have I done right in the past? How can I continue growing? And is it my mindset that needs to upgrade? Is it my relationship to money? Is it getting past my embarrassment to ask for a raise? Is it that I need to find courage to start my side hustle? How can I grow? And that is actually the upward spiral. And as you spiral upwards, you expand and you suddenly become a bigger person to draw in these goals that you once thought were not possible. So you would have heard of the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. So notice again, bring your attention to whether your inner narrative is enabling your growth, or whether you're actually in a fixed mindset and giving up your power to say, well, yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's like that, oh, Singapore is very expensive. Oh my God, I don't know, all these other things about why you can't reach your goal. Okay, so just a quick check-in right now. Which of the 3 mistakes that we've mentioned so far are you more aware of now to avoid when you are going to set your 2024 goals? If you can just type in chat so I can see that you're following. Okay, good. Growth versus goal mindset. Okay. All right. Thank you, Serene. Okay. Now, okay. Oh, it's coming in now. Taking versus giving energy. Good. Be careful of good ideas. Yeah, good idea goals. Okay. Focusing on the outcome. Growth focus. Although I wonder on the time bound, doesn't setting a timeline equals action oriented? So there's nothing wrong with all these traditional ways of setting goals. You just want to watch for whether you are overly attached to the plan, to the timeline, to the outcome, to the success indicators, because nothing in life is predictable. So you can set that as a guide, but don't fall into making it mean something about yourself. And then it begins to demotivate you. All right. Thank you for following so far. So let's move on to the next step. We're now going to dive into the actual goal setting process. So this it's an exercise I'm going to bring all of you through. So you can journal along, or you can take screenshots and kind of type into your app, okay? So this is a strategic approach to arriving on your 2024 goals. I'll bring you through step 1 and step 2 today. And then after that, you can continue working on it, step 1, step 2, and even step 3 in the workbook after the workshop. Okay, so we've got the workbook for you, where you can spend a bit more time. Okay,
I think Jen has a question. She's asking like about growth focus and yeah.
I already addressed that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry, Jen, that was addressed to you just now. Okay, so are you ready? So right now, where you are right now, you would see what we call the wheel of life in front of you. There are 8 areas of life there, and I'd like you to measure each of the following areas of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being the lowest possible, level of satisfaction and fulfillment, so very unfulfilled and unsatisfied, and 10 being very fulfilled and very satisfied. So I give you like a minute to do that.
Lin, what's your one area for yourself?
Finance and wealth.
Ah, okay. Cheryl is asking what is physical environment? Like,
Okay.
what's the definition?
So that would be your space, your living space, your working space. For people who live, abroad or who move around countries and cities, sometimes they're honestly not happy in that country or city, and so maybe it's a bit of a wake up call to go, you know what, maybe I should really move to a place. It could be a house that you want to, it's your environment. Environment plays a very big part in how well you do. Just think of a goldfish and how the goldfish grows to the size of the bowl. It's the same for human beings. So if your physical environment you notice isn't empowering you and making you feel good, then that could be an area of work. All right, is everybody done? Have you gotten all your areas? I see everybody's like hard at work.
So if you're done, maybe you can give a thumbs up in the chat or say something so that we'll know that everybody is ready.
Okay. All right, I see some thumbs. Good, good, good. All right, Jen, Jia Yi. Okay, I'm going to move on in 10 seconds. Good. Now, the next step is to identify the top 2 areas of your life that if you radically improved in the next 12 months, would make the biggest difference in making all the other numbers as close to a 10 as possible. Also, Sharleen, my other area was family, specifically as a parent. I find that I get very tired. It drains me a lot in that role. So I figured that if I worked on this year, it's gonna free up a lot of energy that I can put in all the other areas of my life.
Right. Sometimes it's also about how we perceive certain things, but sometimes it also could be an actual challenge physically that's happening, right?
I know some of you might feel like, oh, health, if I can work on my health and get just more energy, I'll be able to do a lot more. So you're right, you're actually thinking the right way. You want to go for the impact point. Okay, so do all of you have your top 2 areas? Yeah, Serene's nodding.
What if like some people maybe they are a little bit unsure, what would the top 2 areas be? How would you guide them to arrive at those top 2 areas?
Okay, so usually you would need a little bit more time to think about this, but I just want to make sure that all of you go through the steps with us, and then you can do it at your own time. So you I think one of the things you could consider is, where do I feel the most drained? Where do I feel the most disempowered? Where do I feel the most unsatisfied? Right? That if you make changes in that area, it definitely is going to spill over into everything else. So for me last year, oh, I have my next slide to show you. So last year I did this. Okay, so this stuff really works, which is kind of why I'm bringing it to the workshop. So I graded myself, and the ones with the arrow are the ones which I felt would make the biggest difference. So I picked these three as my themes last year. Now, so I looked at my love life when I was grading that, and I went, well, okay, yeah, all right, fine, very good, very comfortable. I put it 8. And then straight away, I said, Lin, you're freaking lying to yourself. Okay, you're not happy in your relationship with your husband. There's just, it's just arguments and not romantic anymore. And I felt, okay, just to get really real with myself, let me put a 4. And then I worked on that like crazy for the whole year. And I had so many breakthroughs. And honestly, the kind of psychological happiness it gave me made such a big difference. So you kind of need to reverse engineer a little bit, right? So I smashed romance, I smashed personal growth, I smashed. I really grew a lot last year. The thing that didn't really move the needle was actually the number 8 section, career and business. And I suspect it's because, number one, 3 is too many, which is why I'm suggesting all of you just focus on 2, but also because there's no big pain. Look, it's a number 8. So if you pick something that you're already comfortable with, it's working for you, there isn't a huge incentive to cause a breakthrough in the area. So that was my lesson from last year. All right, so I hope all of you have your 2, because we're going into the next step. So now we want to find the impact point. So pick one of the areas that you identified just now. Okay, so let's say I pick career and business. And right now, I'm going to give you some time to brain dump all of the desired outcomes in this area. So when I think about career and business, what are all the things that I wish would happen? So imagine it as your online shopping. You have unlimited budget. You can cut everything and anything that you want. That's where you're coming from now when you do this. Okay, so I have some examples there. Okay, so I'll give you some time to cut in everything that you would love in this one area of your life. So write it down. Right, don't limit yourself. Just keep writing. Okay, give you a minute. So just give permission for you to dream a little bit. You can be greedy. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's looking at your list. Okay, do all of you have a couple going? All right, are you ready for the next step? Okay. So the next step is, out of all the desires that you have listed, which is the most important? Meaning to say, if you achieved this, would make the biggest difference to this area of your life. So identify that. So in an example that I gave here under career and business, I listed quite a number, but what I watered it down to was actually, if I became a really influential speaker, okay, I could I have influence as a leader and as a person, I would actually be able to, there's a very big probability that I'll be able to progress in all the other areas, right? I might be able to get recognized at work. I might be able to ask for a pay. I might be able to get along better with colleagues, right? I'll be able to ask or attract this high profile project. I could ask for more team members. Like there are so many things that could open up just because I'm out there being influential. So that is my thought process to then say, you know what? I'm going to work on becoming an influential speaker. So this is strategy where you are hitting things where it would create the biggest impact. So take some time to identify that. And then after you've identified that, describe why you picked that. What do you see would happen? And we'll take 2 minutes for this before we'll break you out into a breakout room with the 4 facilitators. All right. So at this point, I'd like to do a little bit more intimate work. And so we're going to break everybody out into a breakout room. Please don't get freaked out and drop off at this point. Okay, this is where most people go like, I don't want to know, and then I'll drop off. Don't. Okay, we still have more things for you. Now, you can, up to you whether you want to keep your camera off. Like if you don't want to talk, that's fine. But I do want to invite all of you to leverage the time with the group coach. Okay. So in the breakout room, can share what is this one area that you've identified. So is it career and business, for example, and what is that one thing, that one goal, if you achieve, would make the biggest difference in this area, and then why? So there are a couple of reasons why we want you to do this. Okay, talking it out helps you to process your information faster. It's actually faster than writing. Listening to other people is also going to help you get much clearer about your thoughts. And last of all, when you hear yourself say things out loud, like I want to be an influential speaker, your subconscious activation process kicks in. Okay, so you're actually going to begin to step into that process. All right, so do what's comfortable for you. There will be myself, Charlene, Hui, and Meng helping to facilitate. And we would come back at 9:10. So we have about 10 minutes.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Chris.
Hi. Hi, Lin. Thanks for sharing this. Wanted to ask, so I also was raising this out during the breakout room, but while I was looking through one of the angles that I wanted to work on, I realized that it trickled down and also kind of react. One of the outcomes was kind of related to another one as a outcome. So for example, well, so in more direct terms, like I was looking at doing finance, improving my finances, so be able to make more money, right?
Yeah.
And one of the goals of that is to be able to have the money to be able to spend on friends, spend on family, and all that stuff. Then kind of that also relates to the friends and family quadrant sector.
Yeah.
Right then, so kind of trying to understand. Okay, so in that case, how do I then identify which one is the one that I'm actually more concerned with as a goal? Is it the finance side or the the outcome, kind of like the outcome of that finance is to be able to feed the other?
Okay. So inevitably, it will all be linked. So I would say, number one, which one makes you excited, Chris? Right, so go with what makes you excited. So for example, if you go like, I actually get, I need to make more money so I can spend more time with my friends and family. Okay, 5 out of 10, ho hum, right? If I explore another angle and I go, okay, I just want to spend more time, quality time with my friends and family, maybe not be so ambitious, maybe spend quality time with the important people first. And oh, that actually feels quite good. So you're like tune into your energy. That's one. Because when you pick a goal that is exciting to you or is meaningful to you, there's a very high probability that you would succeed at it. The other question to consider would be, which one do I have more control of? So the perfect marriage would be I have control plus it makes me excited.
Okay.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you, Vic. You're like a scriber.
Thank you.
Chris, does that help you?
Yes, something to think about, definitely.
Okay.
Have to process a bit slow at this.
Hey, don't say that lah. Look, it's not easy, okay? I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. To be very honest, like up to now, I'm not very clear about my 2 to 4 goals as well. So there's also a timing to things, okay? Like the last thing you want to do is to force it or push it. Just make sure that when you do your goal design, it's coming from a place of that interest and excitement and what's going to be, meaningful to you. That's the most important thing. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I also think it's related to the growth and fixed mindset concept, because I think to be able to go deeper, having that to entertain the possibility that the growth part, right? There's a space for growth, because I work with a few people last time, friends and all that, and then because I'm in finance and wealth, right? So I hear people having challenges with savings, like income and expenses is always like net, like how much I earn, no matter how much pay increment, it's always a net in terms of the savings. And when I ask them like, okay, what is one thing that must change? And then the fixed mindset comes in, like, I cannot see anything that can change this. That's so I think that how do we shift from, if I recognize that, hey, today I'm having this fixed mindset on this, how can we guide people to shift from fixed mindset to growth mindset?
That's true.
Thank you.
Control and openness to growing in the area. Yeah. Courage to grow in the area. I think working on my relationship with my husband really took a lot of courage. Like, okay, any more questions, thoughts, anything else we can help you untangle? Anybody? Feel free to unmute. Maybe we can take one more.
Hi.
Hi. Who's that?
It's the one with the plant on the top.
I know, it's so cute.
Just want to ask, because I think it's very important to set intentions at the start of the year. So it's good that we're having this now. But I think along the way throughout the year, sometimes people lose sight of their intentions, and then they get a bit lost, right? Because they forget, like, oh, why did I set this out in the first place? I think it's very important for us to be able to do that. And I think that is something that happened to me last year as well. So I would like to ask you for your 2 cents and your advice regarding what happens, and how do you keep track? Okay, so 2 things. How do you keep track of the intentions that you set out to do, to follow? And how do you try to make sure that you remind yourself of your intentions throughout the year to make sure you stick to it,
Yeah. Okay. So Serene asked that question, but I think everybody can relate to it. So it's a community as well. If you have tips, put it in chat for Serene, because anyway, it's going to benefit everybody. So if you have tips or response to what she just asked, put it in chat. I do have 2 ideas. So the first one is Now, I didn't mention this and it's not in your workbook, so please take it down. When you have come up with your area, your 2 areas, or your 2 goals, okay, journal down, like really kind of list down all the reasons why you don't, the reasons why you should no longer stay where you are at. Okay, what is the cost? Okay, answer this question. What is the cost of me staying right where I am now? Vic, you can type that into chat if you want. You're the official transcriber. Thank you. All right, so list it down, and I can tell you it will be a painful process. But I said pain is one of the ways that human beings work. Now, the other side is the pleasure. What would be possible if I really achieve this? Okay, put the time, don't time bound it, okay? Don't fall into, oh no, I have to do this in like 1 year, and then now it's really middle of January. Oh no, now I only have like 11.5 months. Put the time away, right? So what would open up? What would be possible? How would my life be different? How important is this for me? Journal down those as well. So when you do this, it's actually a conscious process where you're telling your subconscious, don't stay here. It is bad for you. So the way the subconscious works, it only has one goal. Its goal is to just help you survive, take care of you. Right? Now, when we don't pay attention to that, it will just run its own funny thing, and it will be working, 30 years ago, like, oh, don't talk to, tall guys because they're very authoritarian, but this is from somewhere in your past. But your subconscious still thinks that tall guys are authoritarian and don't go near them. Bah, bah, bah. So you need to update your subconscious and you need to direct them. And so the way to do it is to tell them, do not stay right where I am now because I'm actually hurting staying here. Go there instead, right? So that's the purpose of that process. So that's one. Now, the second thing, so the key thing is feeling. I didn't talk about this so far, but the other mistake that most people fall into when they goal set is they take it as a very mental process. I must know my goal. I must be very clear. I must do the smart thing, but actually that's not very smart. Because if you're really smart, you will know that human beings are fundamentally emotional creatures. We are driven by how we feel about something. Like when we really love a particular food, or when we really love a particular person, let's talk about person, maybe it's more powerful. We would do anything for love. Anything for love. That is how powerful a feeling is. And so, how can you make yourself fall in love with this version of yourself if you grew to be this particular person who's so attractive to attract all those deals, right? Land your perfect job. If you are this person who's so courageous to be able to set up your own business and, just really go for it despite your fears. Like if you can fall in love with that image, you would have all the courage and strength that you need. So feel into your goals. That is the most important. It doesn't matter if it's not clear. Your feeling is actually more powerful. So that's one. The other thing is, how do you make sure you don't drop off? Don't overwhelm yourself. So I would work with 2. If you can work with 3, that's fine. If you can only work with 1, that's also fine. Have a theme around it. So for example, my theme last year was called #me4me. And it was so simple for me to remember that every time something happened, I will go, okay, my whole purpose this year is to just be able to stand for myself. And so I began to look from this lens at everything versus be at the receiving end of everything around me. Does that make sense? Okay, so I now have this lens called me4me. And so everything that I did in my life was streamlined to that, which means that I could have done things that were not on my radar, opportunities that came along. And to me, it still forwarded me because I would make sure it fits into my theme. So that's the way that I continuously work on this, despite whatever happens in life. It all was for the purpose of me for me, standing for myself, finding my own power and my own boundaries. So if it helps you, some kind of theme. So we're talking about anchors, basically. You know, a lot of people use vision boards, a vision board, you know, or a physical item that you carry with you. It could be a theme. Yeah. It could be a set up your own little mastermind group, your own, you know, your girlfriends come together, or, you know, friends who you know are on the same path as you. Tell them, this is what I'm working on this year. Set up your own support systems. Wow, Vic, what is this 6 sources of influence? Okay, you can share. If you can share more in chat, that would be useful. Serene, does that answer your question? Okay. So, Charlene, before I hand it over to you, I want to quickly, okay, I want to show you all the workbook, okay, so that you know what you just are familiar with it already before you receive it. Okay, so you would see that all the steps are listed out for you. Okay, so it's the exact same instructions as the slide. So you've got step 1, where you do your rating. Step 2, narrow down the top 2 areas. Most of you are at this step. Now, the next step is the important part, which I think all of you haven't gotten to because of the time. So finding the impact point within the area. All right. And then there's some, basically, yeah, the workbook will help you just kind of take that step by step. All right. So this is something that you can look forward to after today. We'll send it across to you. Okay, now I know a lot of you are working on finance. And so I asked Charlene Charlene, you work with a lot of people. Actually, this year I'm also working on finance. So do you have top tips for us who want to become richer?
Okay, actually, this is maybe a 2-hour topic. We can even talk about it, but I just do a quick 5 minutes conversation because everybody might be at different place where finances is concerned and wealth management, right? Because some of us here may be employed, like in a corporate job and all that. Some of us may be entrepreneurs. Then I think the strategy will differently for different types of people. But maybe we just give an example. This is like a framework. So that wherever stage you are, if you find this useful, you can use this framework and apply it to yourself. Okay. So the example is this. Let's say this financial goal. Okay, set a goal for yourself. Like I have an additional 100,000 of savings. I want to have an additional 100,000, or I intend to have an additional 100,000 in 3 years' time. Okay. This can be if you are very clear with what you want, because like for example, you want to buy a house because yeah, that has a time to it, then so be it. But if not, then it's okay. Just follow what your heart, can do. And the first thing I think is to be very clear where we are today. What's our current state? Because it's like a GPS, right? If you want to go to a certain destination, in this case, like 100K, but you don't know where you are, the GPS can't bring you anywhere. You go anywhere but that place. So knowing where you are right now is very important. Okay, but perhaps whatever goal you have, don't judge yourself like, yeah, why am I like that? People at this age already achieve this, but I'm still like that. So this is how self-judgment might sound. Like somebody else like, I'm like that. There is no benchmark. So have a current state. Secondly, know your desired state. It's good to be clear so you know where to work on. What's not clear can sound something like, okay, I want to have more savings this year. But more savings is like $10 more is also more, right? So have a very clear end goal that you really want for yourself. It's for yourself. Okay. And thirdly, third and fourth point is something that I think a lot of people don't think about. That's why sometimes even we set goals, we don't hit them. Actually, I feel it's very damaging to always set goals and don't hit them, because then then you will be very used to not hitting. Then it becomes like a spiral thing, right? And then some people lose confidence along the way and stop doing it all together. Point 3 is about identity. Like, who are you? Some people have an identity like no matter what I do, the money always cannot, you don't know where it is, and let it be, right? So this is a subconscious identity that we actually give ourselves sometimes subconsciously. But when you take on a new role, the good news is that we can actually change. We have a choice to design a new identity for ourselves. From today, I can say like, I am a saver, right? It doesn't mean to say like I'm lying to myself. It can mean like next day It can mean like next day, okay, I will save 10% of whatever I want to set aside, for next day. It can happen immediately. And this identity is built up when I keep doing things repeatedly. Okay, I keep doing things repeatedly to affirm myself I'm like that. So it starts from small action. Okay, and fourth, what can I do to get there? Okay, and then when I do that, keep doing this behavior, tangible and measurable things, right? I reaffirm myself. This is my identity. Okay, and this is how powerful it works. Okay, yeah. So this is an example. We can send you this slide actually. Like this becomes like you having this growth mindset. Okay, and then next, yep, and some quick wealth management tips will be paying yourself first. Okay, a lot of people I work with, they didn't have this habit. The habit is like, okay, they will spend first, whatever balance will be the saving. So that's something I teach for my daughter as well. So if you have children, you can teach them how to manage it from young. So I gave her pocket money, okay, and then I'll ask her, how much do you want to pay yourself first? Yeah, it's the same for us. If you receive your income every month, give yourself first. Don't pay your credit card, don't pay the bank, don't whatever first. You pay yourself first. Whatever balance then is for everything else. If you are a business owner, I would suggest that you can separate your personal account and your business account. Don't mix them together. A lot of people fall into issues when they are mixing them together. Like sometimes need some cash flow over. Yeah, that's where a lot of challenges come. I also have separate accounts for my dreams and expenses so that when I see my dream account growing, I'm very happy. And this can be something that you can use for yourself as well. Build passive income for yourself. If you're not, then you'll always have to be working for money, right? And have a happy, healthy relationship with money. Yeah. This is how we're gonna do with how we view money, lah. This is a deep topic itself. But I'll just leave you guys at this for today. I think it's enough content for today to get started.
Working on my finance, and that's what I did first thing this year, Sharleen. Set up my own bank account, like pay myself first bank account.
Yeah. If you want to know like which bank account has better rates and all that, you can just drop me a DM. I can send you let you know some of the bank accounts that that has pretty good rates and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can always find us on Instagram. We hang out there. So if you want to DM us after this, that's fine. All right, we're going to wrap up. Thank you for staying with us. So the actionables after this would be the workbook, and I've said it so many times, goodness. We've covered the big picture creation. So we talked about the life view and the work view to find your philosophy. You can work through that a bit more. We did give you the questions in the workbook. And then we did step 1 and step 2. I think most of you have done step 1. You can flesh out step 2 and then step 3 in the workbook. Okay, so we then bring it further into how do you paint that vision and begin to look at success measures for yourself. Yeah. Sharleen, this is really good. I don't hear a lot of people in the finance field talking about this. It's so I like that you actually bring it into the identity area, because it's true. How we see ourselves will determine whether we actually achieve something or not.
Yeah. Because sometimes, right, some people, they will say, no matter what I do, I earn high income, right? But no matter what I do, I don't know where my money goes to. It's like whenever I see money, I will spend it. So I worked with one particular client. Her income is not particularly low. It's like 5-digit. And she don't have children, so that brings the expenses not so high, right? Unlike like us, we have kids, they are expenses, okay, investments, right? So you have 3, well, good investment. So yeah, and then year after year, no matter how high, so she has income increment. So no matter how high the income goes up, it's always back to 0. So we found out we experimented. I experimented her a very courageous experiment to pay herself first. So I decided to tell her, why don't I told you, why don't we try this thing? We lock your money, quote unquote, right? We lock your money from you. Like you cannot touch your money. So what happened 5 years on was that she had a pool of I think close to 100,000 of investment portfolio, while being locked away by me and then her own savings is still 0 because of the habit, right? Yeah, so this is like I term it as out of sight, out of mind strategy. So when she doesn't
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah.
I was so worried like she cannot sustain this habit, but then she hasn't had any issue, right? So but of course deep down it's got to do with how she spends money, because I think from young family wasn't doing very well and all. So when she's older, when she has, then she will spend. This is like the identity part. It got to do with how we are being taught about money growing up.
Mm.
Mm.
Very well, yes.
Some people does the opposite, like because family is very poor and young, they become savers because they are always saying, what if not enough, right? Some people can go opposite, they spend it all. Yeah, so understanding that can be helpful to know how we can then achieve our financial goals.
Any other questions or requests?
Sorry if you don't mind, Charlene, also just to understand a bit better. What should I do to get there is also kind of is the second half of the identity equation, as in is that also kind of a identity perspective that you want to get towards, or is it really more towards like the desired states expansion, or like the path to
Actually,
get
it
there?
is like a link. Like I think firstly, knowing why how is the relationship with money all this while, and you can think back about how you spend money, how you use money, what's your views on money, to know where you currently stand also. And then maybe you want change, right? So you can think of, okay, what kind of new identity do you want to adopt? Like what kind of what kind of new relationship you want with your money, if there is something that you want change in, right? And then once you identify where your new identity in, then you can put little steps like how to get there. For example, you can list down, after you identify the identity, you can list down three steps, for example, three small steps to make you become this person. Like for example, let's say my identity is I am in control of my money, and I can control how I'm a master of my money. My money don't control me, right? I don't fall to like temptations. Everything I see online I buy, right? So let's say it's like that. So then what are three things I can do to get closer to become that person? For example, I can say, okay, I will limit I will unfollow or unsubscribe to all the, what do you call that, deals, all the emails and all that. I will unsubscribe. So that will reduce my chance of falling to temptation, right? So that is one step. So there can be three little steps that is highly controllable and it's easy for you to do. So don't do something like very big. Oh, I want to save 50% of my income when you haven't been starting to save any. And this can be quite what do you call that? Can be quite intimidating and very hard to sustain for a start. So it can start with, for next month, I will pay myself, or maybe not even next month, from right now, I will set up an account, I will transfer 5% or 10% or whatever amount that you decide is within your control. Yeah. And when you have all
Right.
these small steps, everything you do is like, hey, the moment you manage to do that thing, it gives you affirmation like, oh, I am in control. Everything you do, I'm in control. Right? Every time you celebrate your little success. And over time you begin to believe that you are that kind of person. Yeah, it takes time.
Got
I
it.
don't know if I answered your question. I hope I did.
Yep. Thank you.